founder director of Zamura Software Technologies Private Limited. 3 years. He's a firm believer in being the jack of all trades. He has been responsible for market research and business planning. It's with a motive to lead and co-create and influence the country's future through the like to request him to address the gathering. We are having a YouTube live stream.
Thank you so much for the introduction. Well, I think as the topic says, industry and academia, right? I think when we were studying in IGIT in 1993-97, I think things were different at that time. Is it audible? Hello, team, is it audible?
Yes, sir, it's audible.
Right. Okay. So basically, when we were studying, I think we didn't have the scope that you guys have right now, right? So when we were studying, we did not know what internet was, or we didn't have access to it, right? But things have changed right now. So when we talk about the industry and the academia gap, the only thing that probably officially that would concern us is probably the curriculum, right? A lot has been said about the curriculum, whether the curriculum justifies what industry needs, that the curriculum justify what the students should be learning. But with the current age and with the current technology, I think that should not be a question that we should be asking, right? Because any which way, whatever curriculum is set, at the end of the day, it cannot justify or it cannot make everybody aligned to the industry's needs, because each of the industry is different. Even if we are being from the IT industry, if we talk about IT industry, there is so much into IT. So the requirement that our company might have and the requirement that some other company might have would be totally different, right? So that is a challenge. At the same time, that is also an opportunity. That's a challenge because do we now go as a general engineering student, or as an opportunity, should we have a specialization on some technology? And that is something that whatever curriculum the government or the institute puts is not going to suffice. At the end of the day, I think it is the students who need to think, who need to understand, right? That what is it that you want, right? So just getting engineering, is that, do you want to be just a general engineer and then probably go for some competitive exams? Or do you need to be specific? I want to be in IT, or I want to be in electrical division, but I want to be in whatever specific. We want to specialize, right? And this is not the time where we complain that, in engineering, they didn't teach us this in engineering. So how am I supposed to go and do my job, right? So I think those days are gone, right? So because if you want to do something, there's so much of tech around, there's so much of, classes, online classes, YouTube tutorials and everything around. All you need to do is understand what you need. You need to understand what the industry needs. You need to understand which industry you plan to go, right? When we were studying, we had no clue what, somebody joining Nalco in electrical department, what exactly was he doing, right? Or somebody joining an IT company working on AI, what it meant, right? But right now you have so much of access to things where you can understand, okay, what is AI, and people working in AI industry, what exactly are they doing, right? So I think even though the struggle and the question will always be perennial, that you know will the academia match the industry requirement? I think that will always be there, but it is upon us and it is upon the students to understand, right? The industry to say this is what we need, and the students to understand this is what we want to do, or this is what we want to give. And I think that is the only way one could move forward. So this is all I have for you students, that I think you need to find your niche, and you need to work on your niche, and then you need to prove your niche. That is all I have. So if you have any questions, or if you have anything, feel free to ask. I'll be more than happy to take your call. Guys, any question you have?
Yes, sir, some questions are there.
Sure.
Good morning, sir.
Yep. Good morning.
I am Sweta Linka. So my question is, there is a lot of beliefs that Indian engineering education system should be changed in order to produce more productive and efficient engineers. So what do you think upon it, sir?
Yeah, as I have already said, whatever curriculum is set, right? It will not be because you just have 4 years to basically study. And if you're in electrical engineering, like I've done my electrical engineering from IIT Sarang, right? So we get an exposure to everything, right? We don't get specialization, right? So whatever curriculum is set by the industry or by the academia or by the government, right? You set something today, within a year it's going to change because the industry landscape is totally changing, right? So even if we cry about it that the curriculum probably needs to be changed, but I think if you see what has been taught right now in the curriculum is the foundation, right? It's not specialized, it's foundation. And probably the question might be that if I don't want to, probably if I want to join electrical and I want to do only specific this, I want to do only signal processing. So why I've been taught mathematics, physics, and everything, right? But I think it's very important that the foundation should be right, right? And that is what has been taught. That is what has been taught, right? In the bachelor's, right? If you want to do anything specialization, then probably you can then go for masters or something. So I personally believe that what is important is to set the foundation right, and then for you guys to choose what exactly you want, right? Because there is no point in complaining about the curriculum, about the college or school. Because of technology, everything is a fair play. Whether you're studying in IIT Bombay, IIT Kanpur, or studying in IIT Sarang, right? Apart from the college and the alumni, everything else is a fair play, right? So I would suggest that if you think, I think it is very important for you to have a very focused career growth. You need to understand what exactly you want to do after engineering, and whatever is the curriculum, whatever is being taught by the professor, I think it is very important. And that you use the tech, you use the web, take the positivity out of it, and then focus on what you want and go for it. That is all I have to say. Are there any startups or are there any students planning to start something post engineering by any chance?
So I haven't thought of it.
I think you should. I think that is also an option you guys should be thinking, because if you see the government yesterday itself they've come up with this special seed fund, right? So I think that is when you're studying, the best option that you guys have to start a startup is actually when you're studying. So I would suggest if you're at least in second year or third year, just look around, think of something crazy and start. Because once you go join a job or once you are out of college, the responsibilities and liabilities increases, so it really becomes difficult and the commitment has to be high. So I would suggest that if you guys are in second year, third year, even if you're in final year, right? I would suggest that think something crazy, start something crazy. If it works, well and good. If it doesn't work, at least you tried, so that's an experience, right? So at least you're taking the experience with you.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Lovely.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon.
Am I audible?
Yes.
So my question is that is it a myth or reality that what we study in our syllabus and what we do in a company or industry do not overlap? Like there is a very few application of what we study in industry.
Well, I think it's a pertinent question, right? Again, as I said, that what you're studying is the general foundation, right? Now, the issue or probably the challenge, or I would put again probably the challenge that is there, that the IT industry is sort of has become the industry right now. So when you talk about engineering, the problem with us is that as everybody, if be it civil, mechanical, electrical, metallurgy, a good amount of people, good number of students actually joining the IT industry, right? So when you join the IT industry, probably then there is a mismatch, right? But when you're joining a metallurgy department, or when you're joining a civil engineering department, The focus actually is for you to understand civil, right? So now if we speak about the specialization that is, about civil, then probably there's a lot of, value addition that you have, right? So if you're studying civil engineering to be a civil engineer, then obviously your foundation and everything is, intact. You have been bred to understand the foundation so that you can do better when you go to the real world. But when you're doing civil engineering and then you go to cross department, you go to an IT and then you're putting in Java, right? That probably then yes, there is a conflict, right? But when you're doing a, you're or an electrical engineer for that matter, when you're just studying electrical and you join an electrical industry, a manufacturing, or join a something like a SESU or a distribution, something related to electrical, then yes, there's a lot of things. The foundation has been taught, which basically helps you work. But once you study something and then you join something else, no matter what, I think there will always be a dissimilarity or a disconnect or a conflict, right? So if you ask me whether the syllabus makes sense, I think syllabus definitely makes sense. But again, it's our choice or it's our options that possibly then define whether the syllabus makes sense or not. But if you fundamentally, I think it does make a lot of sense.
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Hello.
Yeah.
Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon.
So my question is, what are the essential traits or characters that a modern engineer should possess to achieve professional accomplishment in industry like yours?
Well, I think whether you're an engineer or wherever you are, in whichever stream you are, be it arts, be it science, be it politics for that matter, right? I think one of the most important characteristics that you need to have is a good character, number one, right? And number two, you need to have the passion for whatever you're doing, be it anything. Uh, Interestingly, today I was just studying a small article. There is this guy called MBA Chaiwala, right? So this guy, I think, comes from MP. I think studied in Bombay or somewhere, studying MBA and all. He said, yeah, he jamta nahi hai. So he was not very happy with what he was doing. And then he started, while studying, I think he was working in a restaurant or something, and then he thought about coming up with this chai thing, right? So we can plan to start a chai chain of restaurant called MBA Chai or MBA Chai Wala or something like that, right? And probably right now he's doing around 3 crores of business per year, right? So I'm not saying that you guys leave college and then start something, but what I'm trying to say is that whatever it is, whatever stream you are, you need to find your passion and you need to follow it, right? So passion can come probably in the first year, probably can come in the second, third, fourth, or probably can come after 5 years or 6 years of your job, right? But what I want to say is that you need to have a solid character, right? Number one, and number two, you need to have passion. If you have the right character, meaning the right attitude, and then the right passion, I think it's going to work wonder. That doesn't mean that if you have not yet found your passion, stop working. But what I want to say is just start building yourself, and start experimenting yourself and see, start something new, start something different, and see whether it fits in to what you want. And once you find that fit, I think you should just go ahead, irrespective of whatever the world thinks, irrespective of whatever others think. So my advice is that have a strong character, have the right attitude, and find a passion to do things. And I think that should show you the way to move forward. And I'm sure that is something that is going to take you to success.
Sure, sir. Thank you, sir.
But the only problem that the current generation has, probably starting from mine, would be that we need to accept failure. Full stop. Earlier, what used to happen in the society at large, if somebody has failed, the society used to look at them and say, this guy has failed, right? But things have thankfully changed, right? So even if you face failure, right, and failure will come in your life. Not take it for granted, right? It will come. So when you face failure, don't get disheartened, right? There is always a step ahead. So even if you face failure, don't get disheartened. Keep moving. A lot of people I see, especially the young ones, if they fail, they just get disheartened, disappointed, and then they just stop. I think I would suggest that don't take failure as an experience and just move ahead. Move ahead. Let whatever come. Just move ahead. That is what I have to say.
Thank you very much, sir, for your valuable
Thank,
words.
thank you.
Sir, is there anything else that you would like to add to your talk?
Uh, well, I'm more of a Q&A guy because I think I can only share my experiences that I have, and my experience have been really. I'm very happy with the life, with the struggle and everything that I have gone through. So I am more of a Q&A guy rather than an extempore guy.
Right, sir.
But I would suggest that start thinking about new ideas or start thinking about doing the same thing in a different way. Innovation does not need to be necessarily need to be something to come with a disruptive technology. It can also be a disruptive process, right? If you are
Right, sir.
if you're in Sarang right now, and I'm sure there will be a lot of gaps, there will be a lot of pain points. Look at this pain point and then see how can you solve it, engineeringly, otherwise, or whatever. So what I would suggest is look around and start looking for issues, looking for pain points, looking for gaps, and find a solution to it. And that is how you nurture yourself to grow ahead. Yeah.
Right, sir. That's beautiful, sir.
Thank you.
That was it for the questions, sir. It was wonderful having you among us. We look forward to more such sessions with you.
Lovely. Thank you that you guys liked it.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much.
Bye.
Bye, sir.